Don't you just love a good heist movie? The planning, the action, the lovable crew, everything. I don't know about you, but Now You See Me Too has to be my all-time favorite heist movie. But today's story is just as crazy, if not crazier than the movies. This is the story of a heist known as the heist of the century, the Antwerp Diamond Heist. And there's a little mystery at the end, so don't leave. The city of Antwerp in Belgium is known as the diamond capital of the world. 84% of the world's rough diamonds and 50% of cut diamonds pass through the city, which is $16 billion worth of diamonds each year. So it's the go-to place for anyone looking for diamonds. The place where most of this happens is the Diamond District, an area consisting of several square blocks covering an area of about 1 square mile. And the main attraction of this area is the Antwerp World Diamond Center, a massive high security building where the shops and offices of many high-end diamond dealers are located. Located within this building is what some claim is the most secure vault ever made. It protects billions of dollars worth of diamonds, so they went a little overkill with the security. Not only does the area have tight security, with their own task force known as the Diamond Squad working around the clock, but the vault had 10 layers of security. Starting with the vault door itself, which was made of a 12-inch thick piece of steel, weighing at around 3 tons. Opening this door would require you enter one of 100 million possible combinations, after which you'd have to get past the key lock, which only had 1 key, which was a 12-inch long key that was comprised of 2 pieces. Drilling through was also made impossible because of a seismic sensor that could detect vibrations caused by drilling. Behind the thick vault was a steel gate that needed another key to be opened, accompanied with magnetic plates that sensed when the door was opened. The only way to disarm the sensors would be to enter a code in another keypad. But wait, I'm not done yet. There are also 2 security cameras, one on the outside and one on the inside. And finally, heat and motion sensors inside the vault. I know, that's a lot of security, which is why the vault was thought to be impenetrable. That was until February of 2003, when a band of skilled Italian thieves pulled off the heist of the century, the Antwerp Diamond Heist. Leonardo Notarbotolo is the story's protagonist, or antagonist depending on which side of the law you're on. He was born in Palermo, Sicily in 1952. Growing up, Leonardo was a bit of a misfit. At the age of 6, he had already committed his first crime, a theft. He stole milk and some cash from a sleeping milkman, and the feeling was exhilarating to him, although he got in trouble with his mother afterwards. After Leo had left school, he had no interest in living a regular life and doing the 9-to-5 for minimum wage. You see, Leonardo had a taste for the finer things in life, and he decided that the only way he would want to satisfy that hunger was by being a thief. Even after Leonardo got married to his wife Adriana and they opened a jewelry store together, he continued to steal. It was almost as if Leonardo was addicted to stealing. He even said himself that he was born to be a robber. And so this dude had a lot of experience with stealing. Not just milk and stuff, he had some pretty big jobs before the Antwerp one. Big jobs. Leonardo was equipped with the skill set of a master manipulator and seasoned thief, as well as an expert in understanding human behavior. And while Leonardo was the leader of the heist, the idea did not come from him. It came from one of his associates, a man named Ferdinando Finoto. Finoto tried to rob the Antwerp Diamond Center once before, but failed miserably. But with that failure came the information that somebody could rent an office inside of the Diamond Center, which would give him easy access to the vault. Leonardo was that someone, since he was a jeweler. The thought of a heist excited Leonardo in unimaginable ways, especially because he could sell the gems he had previously stolen from his Antwerp office. Leonardo got the office in 2000, and for the next 3 years, he cased the joint. Being an office owner got Leonardo easy access to the vault, although obviously somebody had to accompany him. And after Leonardo got familiar with the vault, it was time for him to put together his crew. Let's go. First up, we had Ferdinando Finoto, codename The Monster. He's the guy who came up with the idea, and he got his name from his strong and intimidating nature, and his job was to be the muscle of the group. Plus, he was a seasoned thief. Elio Donorio, codename The Genius. He was a skilled and experienced hacker, and his job was to hack into the surveillance systems and disable any alarms that were in the vault. Next up, we had the King of Keys. Not much is known about him except for the fact that he was a skilled lockpicker. And finally, Pietro Tavano, codename Speedy. He had no special skills and was only brought along because he was Leonardo's childhood friend. His skills were anxiousness and unpredictability. Together, these men formed the heist crew known as the School of Turin. For the next 3 years, Leonardo used his position to scope out the vault. And he didn't even come off as suspicious, not one bit. Everybody just thought he was a chill dude. Oh, they were wrong. Whenever Leo entered the vault, he had a hidden camera on him, which he used to get 360-degree footage of the entire vault. The crew used this footage to create a 100% accurate replica of the vault. Using the replica over the course of 3 years, they worked to perfect their plan until finally, they were ready to strike. Saturday, February 15th, 2003. The perfect day for a heist. Yes, I forgot to mention, most of the people who worked at the Diamond Center were Jewish, and Saturday was the Jewish Sabbath or rest day. So the center was pretty empty at the time. Also, everyone in Antwerp had their attention on the ongoing Diamond Games tennis tournament, which Venus Williams was playing in. So no one could have been prepared for what the School of Turin had in store. The heist technically started on the 14th when Leonardo entered the vault with the concierge of the Diamond Center and sprayed hairspray on the heat and motion sensors after distracting him. The next day, the gang rented a silver Peugeot and they drove to a building near the Diamond Center. Leonardo stayed behind, while the rest made their way into the Diamond Center. They used the ladder to get onto the balcony of the Diamond Center and then disabled the motion sensor using a styrofoam board, after which they broke a window and got into the building. And they easily made their way to the antechamber of the vault. This was where their years of practice finally came into play. In the cover of the darkness, they were able to find the first security camera and cover it with a black plastic bag. And then they made their way to the room where the 12-inch key was stored, broke in, and took the key. So that was one thing down. If you remember correctly, they had to get past the combination lock with 100 million possible combinations. And sure enough, they had planned for it. Using footage from a small camera they placed in the ceiling, they were able to record the concierge entering the combination days before the heist. And they entered the same code, and they were able to get past that obstacle. Oh, and remember the magnetic field? Well, in order to get past that, they brought aluminum plates with them, which they used to cover each metal plate in order to maintain the magnetic field and give the sensor the illusion that the field was still active, whereas it wasn't, it was open. The next thing standing in their way was a steel gate, and the King of Keys handled that pretty quickly, and just like that, they were in the vault. And after adding an extra layer of security onto the heat sensors that Leonardo disabled, everything was ripe for the picking. In total darkness, the crew emptied the safes and filled their duffel bags with loot. At around 5 a.m. they had finished with their rummaging, and with their bags all full, they made their way out of the center. Before leaving, they took out all of the surveillance footage and replaced it with blank tapes. When they got out of the building, they called the getaway driver, who was the person who stayed behind, and they all drove off. The next day, being a Sunday, nobody went to the vault, and so it wasn't until Monday the 17th that their actions were discovered. Let me just say, what they saw probably almost gave them heart attacks. Almost all of the lockboxes had been looted, and the Diamond Squad came and they started investigating, and they found that over $100 million worth of jewels were missing, giving this heist the title of the Heist of the Century. It even has a spot in the Guinness World Record for heists, the spot of the biggest heist ever, though investigators believe that the actual loot was worth $400 million. Investigators noticed that there was no sign of forced entry and that all the materials used in the heist were common items that anyone could have got, so they would be difficult to track. And the job was so professionally done that not even a single fingerprint could be lifted from the vault at the time. Days had passed and the aftermath of the robbery wasn't as nice as in the movies. Many people had lost everything they had, and the perpetrators were still at large. And all law enforcement had to go off of was a hunch that the entire thing was an inside job. So at first they believed the concierge was responsible, but he had an alibi, which was that his brother came to visit him. But this was later shown to be false, as he came out and said later that he was actually drunk and partying. Everything looked like smooth sailing for the thieves until the police got a call around a week after the heist. The call was from a retired grocer named August Van Camp. August called to complain about a trash bag he had found on his property, and the police were about to dismiss it because he usually called about things like this. He hated littering. But just as they were about to, he mentioned diamonds being found in the bag. And within an hour they had got to where the bag was. Most of the contents of the bag had already been poured out. Tapes from video cassettes had been pulled out and thrown into the surrounding trees. And among all of that trash, the police saw it. Diamonds, some still in the bag and some trampled into the surrounding mud. The bag and its contents were searched by a forensic team. Much of it was trash, but as they say, one man's trash is another man's evidence. They found a document that had the name of a company, Demoros Preziosi, which had offices at the Antwerp Diamond Center. Offices owned by our very own Leonardo Notarbartolo, our now prime suspect. But before we get to what happened next, let's catch up with Leonardo and the gang. After the heist, they split up and Leonardo went to his old family home back in Turin. After cooling off a bit, he had to return to Antwerp to tie off some loose ends. Loose ends like returning the getaway vehicle that they had used, and also cleaning up his apartment since that's where they went after the heist. Not long after he and his wife had left the home in Turin, police had just arrived there, but they missed them. And so Leo's wife and some friends worked together to clean up the apartment, while Leo went to his office in Antwerp, which was a horrible move, but he didn't know they were onto him just yet, and so he went there. When he got there, he was spotted by a concierge who distracted him while one of her other colleagues called the authorities. They arrived in no time and Leonardo Notarbartolo was arrested. During interrogation, Leonardo showed no signs of panic and denied all the allegations being thrown at him. They had no evidence of the crime, and Leonardo knew this. The authorities made a move onto his apartment, and they found Leonardo's wife and friends as they were just about to leave and arrested them all, but none of them spoke a single word. A search was done on the building, and they found the same duct tape used in the heist, as well as a SIM card belonging to Speedy. They checked and saw that the SIM card pinged near the building on the night of the heist. They also found the receipt for the same exact items that were found in the trash bag, like wine, cheese, yogurt, and other foods. And after some investigation, they found that the man who purchased the items was none other than Ferdinando Finoto, the monster. There was also a half-eaten salami sandwich that was linked to Leonardo, and the most incriminating evidence was found after forensics vacuumed the carpet that was found in the apartment. They had found diamonds, and not just any diamonds, the same exact diamonds that went missing from the Antwerp vault. It was now time for sentencing. The thing is, in Belgium, the maximum punishment for theft of any kind is 5 years. And so on the 3rd of March 2005, Leonardo was found guilty of 2 counts of theft since he orchestrated the robbery and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Ferdinando Finoto, the monster, was also found in 2007 after police found $100 bills that were linked to the Antwerp Diamond Center vault in his girlfriend's home. He was sentenced to 5 years. Elio Denorio, the genius, had his fingerprints lifted off some tape that was used to cover the sensors, and he was also sentenced to 5 years. Speedy was captured not long after and was sentenced to 5 years as well, which he served in Italy. But the King of Keys was never found, nor does anyone know his name or who he even is. So he's probably enjoying himself with all that money. 6 years had passed and everybody else was free, except Leo. And Leo did an interview with Wired magazine while still in prison, in which he said that the idea for the entire heist was given to him by a Jewish diamond dealer, and that he was supposed to take a cut of the profits since he was financing the entire heist. And that the entire loot of the heist was only worth around $200,000, and so the whole $100 million thing was potentially insurance fraud. He also shed a light on why the bag was found on Van Camp's property. He said the original plan was to drive to France with Speedy and dispose of the trash there, but Speedy was getting anxious and nervous, and so he decided to pull over on the side of the road and throw everything out over there, which was inevitably what got them caught. He then said after that they drove to where the Jewish diamond dealer was supposed to meet up with them, but he didn't show. And that's how the whole thing kind of ended there. But many believe that the whole Jewish diamond dealer thing was an attempt at Leo to get a more lenient sentence, since he was sentenced because of, the major role he played in the heist. But who knows? Fast forward to today, and all the members of the School of Turin have been released. But there's still one thing sitting in the back of my mind. What happened to all the diamonds? Did the gang manage to liquidate it, turn it into cash, or is it all just missing? That will remain unsolved. But I do realize why this heist is known as the heist of the century, because this shit was crazy. It was, whoa, it was mind-blowing. I want to pull up a heist someday. Yeah, I got the brains. I'm recruiting you guys, man. Come with me. Anyway, thanks for watching, and subscribe, because you know what I'm saying. Just subscribe, man, because this shit is, it's just gonna be lit, man. There's more great content to come on the way, and I know you'll enjoy it. Plus, maybe you might discover what's behind here someday, and that's a mystery in itself. Love y'all. Mwah.
Parting is such sweet sorrow.